Hopkins has some other stuff. Go ahead, Tim.
Well, I was going to say, we've done a Tim's Feelings podcast. We need to do a Nick's Feelings podcast.
I don't know. I don't think Nick has feelings. Like, I'm pretty sure he doesn't.
That's correct.
Dude's been a robot as long as I've known him. Welcome to the Practical Pistols Show. My name's Ben Steger. I'm here to answer your shooting questions. On deck today, we've got Matt Hopkins, who's super mad about stuff.
Hi.
No. Grandmaster Nick is here. Grandmaster Tim is here. Before we get into today's topic, which we're going to talk about Matt Hopkins' expectations at major matches, and mine too, and what it takes to meet those expectations, because Matt's all super fucking pissed off all the time. Anyway, before we get into that, I have not utilized the podcast for advertising in like 6 months. It's been a while, right, guys?
It has.
Yeah, it's been quite a while.
Quite a while, yeah.
I have to pimp S&S bullets. Why? Because they ask me to, and I shoot their bullets, and I like their bullets. So if you like Molly-coated bullets of various calibers and bullet shapes and sizes and all that shit, if that's a product that you like, check out S&S Casting. They have a 10% off discount code if you go to... Shit, I don't even know what the website is. Tim, do you use their bullets? Tim, do you use their bullets?
Do I? No.
Yeah.
No,
None
I
of you
use,
motherfuckers do you?
And it's not that I don't like them or anything. I think Jim and Ryan are awesome guys too. So I would definitely say they've got a great product. I just happen to use Chandler's bullets. So. Okay,
it's snscasting.com. If you would like to check them out, use the discount code PPS10 and you get 10% off of whatever shit you order. I use their stuff. I'm satisfied with it. I mean, I don't want to say that I'm a connoisseur when it comes to bullets. I don't really know. I know that I use their bullets and they work and they group okay. So that's good. I shoot a lot of them. What do you use, Nick? You use jacketed?
Well, I use whatever's on sale, pretty much.
Yeah, it's like a commodity, right?
Yeah.
No, I mean, seriously,
I will say I use 100% plated and jacketed. I have never used any lead or molly bullets. I will say that. And it's because I'm scared to figure out how to load them, and I'm scared of smoke. So I'm sure it's easy, and I'm just...
Yeah, it's super easy. Like
I'm sure it's super easy.
If you would use plated, I think molly's fine.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I think so.
And with all the high coatings on all of them, I don't think there's ever been really any issues I've ever experienced with smoke on them either. So, and the cool thing is you generally can load a couple of tenths of powder less and get the same velocities on the coated stuff too. So
yes. Well, I mean, all the guys make us like black bullets and the blue bullet guys and Bayou bullets. I think it's a similar product. And the difference is going to be like what color you want the bullet and who's got a sale that day and what the service is like. And S&S is impeccable with the service as far as I'm concerned. So that's why I would even I don't pimp a lot of stuff, but I will pimp their bullets because the service is genuinely good and I like their stuff. All right. Good. We'll do another ad in like 6 months, okay, guys?
Excellent.
The last ad I did was an anti-endorsement of Freedom Gun Works.
How'd that work?
As I recall. I don't know. They're still in business, so it gives a shit what I say.
Are you sure it wasn't the DVD?
What? Oh, the DVD.
Before or
yes.
after the DVD?
I mean, I would pimp my own stuff. Maybe Tim Mars will get on my ass to pimp stuff more. You know, he'd be like, you gotta like utilize the podcast. But I guess not. All right, Mr. Hopkins. Today we are talking about what your expectations are at major matches and how those expectations get met or don't get met. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, everybody expects something to a certain level at a major match. Like how it's going to be ran, how the stages are going to be, just like the general output of the match.
Okay, so there could be things like prize table.
Prize table, yeah, that's one of them.
Some guys have some expectations about that.
Yeah.
What about, I don't know. I have a feeling that the stuff that you care about and I care about, and probably these other two dipshits we have today, we're going to be different than a lot of people.
Yeah, I think everybody comes in. I mean, everybody, no matter who's on the pod, like, listening to this or whatever, are going to have different expectations.
Well, I mean, they're going to have things that they prioritize differently.
Yeah. And some are going to not even think about some of the stuff we talk about, I'm sure.
Yes, absolutely. For example, there's a match I've been to where they never mailed out the fucking awards to anybody. Didn't mail them out. Like, you could people email them like, no awards for anybody who won this match. This is a pretty big match. I will go back to that match. That's how big of a deal. I will go back. That's no deal breaker.
Okay, I was about to say it. Yeah.
I will go back. But there'll be other things that might happen at a match where it's like, that is a deal breaker. And it might be stuff that people think is weird. But anyway, Matt, what are your expectations?
Well,
if these other dipshits agree.
I think the most important thing is equality.
Equality? So
Yeah.
that they have to let black people shoot?
Yeah, they definitely have to let black people shoot.
Okay, that's a good thing. Jared Jackson will be happy with that.
And then it has to be ran fair between all the different competitors. Like, it has to be the same match no matter when you shoot it.
That's number one?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that comes down to, like, it'd be a tie probably between that and...
What they serve for lunch?
No, I don't care.
No water. Water. Matt's big thing is water. There better be water at matches, guys.
No, there is. I think that's actually turned around recently, where most matches do that.
All right, so your number one expectation, Matt, is going to be like competitive equity.
Yeah, it's a competition. All the competitors have to shoot it the same.
Okay.
Should.
Nick, are you with him on that?
Yeah, I am. I'll say at least for myself, and I'm guessing Tim as well. We were not presented with this topic prior to about 3 minutes ago.
No, you guys are getting ambushed.
So we are shooting from the hip. And before Matt spoke up, I was going to say my very first absolute highest priority competitive equity would definitely be at the very top of the list.
Now, Nick, I think the maddest I've ever seen you, granted, you weren't that mad, but the maddest I've ever seen you was when you got straight up popper fucked at a match. like center punched a mini popper that did not fall, and of course you lost calibration, because why wouldn't you? It's just like, you're just like, God damn it.
I shot it. It did not move. Like, it didn't almost fall over. Like, it did not even move at all. It just sat there.
That's like the match. So that's a competitive equity issue, yeah?
Well, that's a rules issue.
Yeah,
okay.
That's a rules.
That's an issue where the match director can follow the rule book to a T, and you still get fucked because it's a bad rule.
Okay. Tim, I assume you're going to fall in line and say competitive equity is number one for you.
Oh, absolutely.
Man, that's so good, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, nobody wants to go to a match and find out, a guy that shot the day prior, got to do something you weren't allowed to do, or, you were allowed to do something that maybe a bunch of other squads weren't allowed to do. I mean, it goes both ways, and I wouldn't want to be able to, to have some unfair advantage over everybody else just because of some kind of, a bad call or a bad ruling or something like that. So it definitely, at the end of the day, just like Matt said, it's got to be all about, competitive equity more than anything. So I want to be able to shoot against the best under the same rule set as.
He's kind of cutting out. Oh, I think we lost Tim. That's sad.
He's kind of frozen up there.
Yeah. So if we do go into like the number two thing, I'd say is the stages is second most important thing about it.
Stages?
Yeah.
Like stage design.
Like stage design, stage variety. I don't want to go out there and shoot 10 of the exact same stages. Like, how does that add to the match? or 14 if you already have 10. Like, adding 3 of them doesn't really change anything.
All right, so what is the match you shot recently, like in the last year or two, that did it the best in terms of stage design? The best balance, or whatever that you like the best, I don't know.
Truthfully, I think Area 5 this year was really good. Like, they had some short courses, they had some medium courses, they had some long courses, they had a standards. I think it pretty much hit on everything that I'd want to see tested at a bigger match.
So we'd say it was pretty similar to Nationals in terms of how it was.
Actually, if I could say anything, it would be Nationals in 14.
2014 Nationals.
Except they lack long shots. But
okay. Nick, I'm going to go on a limb here and assume that you agree.
I do, absolutely. Hopkins and I are 100% on the same page so far.
God damn. That's a good thing. But there are a lot of people who don't agree with you guys. Well, they'll be like, well, competitive equity is good and stage design is good. Or maybe they'll say, like, well, I want to have fun. Like, I want fun stages. So, like, close range shooting, a lot of that shit. Like, I want stages that are, have a lot of that stuff. So I want a lot of close range stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have, I'm sure everybody has their own kind of favorite type of stage. And then, if you go to a match that's biased heavy toward that kind of stage, you're probably going to have a lot of fun. Sure, I get to see that.
I don't see that making a good match, though,
Not necessarily.
Well, hey, hold on now, Hopkins. You shot a match last year I think the match director made a point of just being like, hey, my philosophy is it's going to be like close range, it's going to be fun stages. That's what it's going to be. And you had a lot of fun there.
Yeah,
right?
I did. I had a lot of fun. There were some...
You told me you had fun.
There was a very good variety of stages also. Like, that was the key thing there. Like, they had a lot of short courses and medium courses in there. That actually made it into a better match.
But generally speaking, you thought the difficulty of the shooting was pretty low.
The difficulty of the shooting was not that high, no. And I thought it was very fun.
But would you want that to be Nationals?
No, it can't be Nationals. It could be anything. It could be what it was, though,
So by difficulty, you're talking about individual shot difficulty, like
like
hose fast
is easy and stuff like that.
Okay. It just tests different skills, I guess, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think one of the key things about that match was it had a variety of stage length. Like, it had short, medium, and long stages in it. I think that's one of the things that we don't get enough of, is the short and medium. Actually, the medium is probably the most looked over. Because a lot of people design like 2 short stages to take up 1 bay. Or we see a long field course like 32 rounds or more.
I would agree with that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the question becomes, since all of us want competitive equity and cool stages, then it's kind of like, so if you travel around, Matt, you probably shoot the most majors of anybody here, right?
Probably, yeah.
Probably 15 a year or something?
Yeah, I believe so.
All right, so where would you say, generally speaking, you find matches lacking?
I'd say it's in the stage diversity.
Stage diversity, and what about in the competitive equity front?
I think that's pretty good. I have never seen a super huge advantage.
Okay, I'll tell you guys the craziest shit I've ever seen, and it was at Nationals. So you guys can tell me what you think of this. This was like a long time ago. So there was one stage that was built, like I would say it wasn't constructed properly, to where you could shoot a popper that activated some stuff from a spot where it was pretty clear the stage designer did not intend you to be able to shoot it from there. So there was like a wooden pine tree thing. If you kind of crouched down in one spot, you could see this part of this popper, and you could shoot it. But it was super problematic from a running the match perspective because you could pretty easily shoot through this wooden tree thing and still knock down the popper, which obviously reshoots. That's a problem. To build it correctly, they would just have to completely obscure the popper from that spot, or have like where the pine tree thing was actually hardcover. They would have had to do one of the two. You guys following this?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so
yeah.
basically popper you could shoot from a spot that, from a match administration standpoint, wasn't a good thing to do. I would this was nationals, so I was on the super squad. We shot the stage. It was a squirrely enough way to shoot the stage. I elected not to fuck around with it. I didn't want to shoot the stage that way, but probably half the squad did. The stage was won shooting it that way. As soon as our squad got off the stage, nobody else was allowed to shoot it that way.
They just said, make you reshoot it?
What's that? No, we did not reshoot it.
Then that's a pretty easy thing to arb, right? Or would be.
How do you think that went?
Some dude lost $100.
Well, there you go. That was like the craziest shit I've ever seen. I mean, and that was at nationals.
Like, that would drive me crazy. Like, that's totally not equal between shooting.
Yeah.
You can't let one squad do it one way and then restrict a different squad.
They restricted all the other squads because we shot it the first day of the match.
Yeah, that's crazy. That would drive me nuts.
I could not fucking believe it. But after after going to nationals for a while and having there be plenty of fucked up shit that happens there, it's kind of like, well, I can't say I'm surprised. You know. Yeah, Tola, what's your reaction to that?
It sounds pretty crazy to me, man. I am surprised. USPSA Nationals, that something like that would happen, I am surprised.
I think the limited Super Squad one year got like optional reshoots on a stage.
How's that?
I don't fucking know. This was my first Nationals. I didn't really know all the details. But it's kind of like, well, they have the option to reshoot it because of something not clear in the stage briefing or whatever. It's like weird.
Oh, I've got an optional reshoot. About that.
What?
So I'll explain it. I asked an RO if I could hand cock my double action trigger on a weekend only start. The RO told me no. So I shot it straight up like he said. Then about 2 stages later, the RM comes over and says, question me on it, and then he's like, well, do you want to reshoot the stage then? Because you were given wrong instructions. And I definitely did want to because it worked out way better.
Yeah, that's not against the rules, is it?
You can't learn how to shoot your double action trigger?
I know how now, but I did not then.
Okay, that's.
I've done that twice ever.
Handcocking it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's not against the rules, is it?
Not in the U.S., no.
It is in IPSC?
IPSC, yeah.
Yes.
It's good information. Thank you.
That's good information for you to have for shortly.
Damn it, I'll have to add that to my list.
But, Nick, one thing they won't have in IPSC is like regulating how many shots you fire.
Yeah, there's no Virginia
count. They don't do that.
There's no Virginia count?
Yeah, so you can burn one off into the dirt. And you'll be fine.
Yeah, I don't think it's quite the same thing.
It would probably be faster.
The times I did it were on very specific kind of starts. One, you had to move several steps, and your first shot was on a 35-yard mini popper. So I'm like, I'm running over there anyway. I might as well do something while I'm running.
Did you elect to rack the slide or just thumb cock it?
I just thumb cocked it on the draw while I was moving and.
Nice.
Shot a 35-yard mini popper, not double action.
All right, guys, let's wrap this up. This topic about Matt Hopkins' expectations. Tim, what is a deal breaker for you? So, like, if you go to a match, so it's matches tend to be run at a particular range by a particular group of people. If you go to a match and it's like something happens or you don't like something, look, what would it be that it's a deal breaker? Or you're just like, fuck this match, I'm not coming back. I mean, and obviously, like for guys like you're gonna go to nationals, period, right?
Right.
It pretty much doesn't matter what they do to you. You'll be back for more because it's nationals. What's a deal breaker for Tim?
If it were
you seem like a pretty nice guy, so I imagine it have to be something kind of out of control. Where the fuck? Is he gone?
Shoot a match. I mean,
I can't hear what the fuck he's
dude,
saying.
am I still acting up here?
Yeah, you're all
Yeah, your shit's acting up.
Oh, what the hell?
I'll tell you what mine is. I'll go into mine real quick.
Yes,
It's not going to be one thing that's going to affect it. It's going to be probably multiple little things that affect it that add up to me not wanting to go to it. And that could be as little as not providing water at the match, which I haven't really encountered. Dude, that's a huge. I mean, like,
if they don't provide water, you may not go back.
Yeah.
Jesus.
That is all about this water.
He's all about it.
Look at Tim running around
his... right? I mean, it could be like, I don't know. I mean, like, personalities that are there, a certain flavor of the match. If I'm not into that, I won't go.
Well, give me a specific. Give me a for instance.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to say.
Well, I know that I know you pretty well, and you go back to, like, there'll be matches that, like, traditionally there'll be tons of running, and you don't really like it, but you'll go back.
Yeah,
right?
But that's because it's my area match. I think I have to go to
that. You don't have to. You can do what you want.
Maybe someday Sherwin will stop doing that.
I doubt it.
I doubt it, too.
Okay, here's a deal breaker for me, like a match I'm not, like, I just don't go back to. If there's a competitive equity issue, and coupled with the match staff not thinking that that's a problem.
Yeah, I'll agree.
See, so that's two things. So if the match staff doesn't give a shit, and there's some issue, that's a major deal for me. I'm like, oh, Jesus. I mean, if there's a fuck up, whatever, shit happens. I mean, I get that. But if it's, you know, I'm not going to put them on blast and go on the internet and be like, yeah, fuck that match. I'm not going to do that. But I'm not going to go back.
Yeah,
just fuck that match. What about you, Nick? I'm sure you quit shooting IDPA, so you've learned on some level.
Yeah, I'll say that. I will say this. So IDPA, yeah. Okay. The other thing, I have a certain number of vacation days, so I have a real job, unlike some of the people on this call. But
I feel like that was directed at me.
You and Matt, and I don't know about Tim. Tim has a real job, I think.
Tim?
So Tim has a real job, I guess. I don't know how many days he can take off.
What are you talking about?
Tim Heron.
I don't know what his vacation situation is.
He loves working on cars.
I know he does. I know he does. He should. I'm sure it's great. But here's my situation. I have a certain number of days a year that I can spend on matches. Okay? So I prioritize them. And there are certain things that can happen where I cut a match from my schedule, whatever, I want to add another one. So when I've cut matches from my schedule, it's been not because I hate that match, you know, per se, or I think they did anything horribly wrong. It's been more combination of, like, I know they're going to have stages that are not my favorite style.
Example, like hoser stages, or
like a hose fest. Yeah, I'm not so. You know, if the entire match is a hose fest, that's not personally my favorite style. A lot of people love that. I'm not one of them. So there was a match I used to go to it's a hose fest every year. A lot of people love that. I used to have free place to stay at that match, and that went away. So between those two factors, this year when it came to make a decision, you know, I dropped that one and picked up another.
So what would have to happen at a match for you to just be like, I'm not going back?
It's basically like you're saying. I mean, the biggest thing is if competitive equity is a problem, that's my biggest issue by far. I mean, if I can't think of any specific time or reason. I don't think that's ever happened to me where I was blatantly hit with a competitive equity problem where the rules weren't followed and the match staff didn't give a crap. I can't. That's never happened to me. But if it did,
I was there one time when the match staff. Well, I thought the match staff was going to punch a guy on our squad. Not you or me, but I thought he was going to punch one of the guys on our squad.
I I don't recall exactly what you're talking about right off there.
We'll talk about it after.
Okay.
Yes, there was a competitive equity issue there.
Yeah. There's rules I don't like, but if the rules are followed, you can't really blame the staff for following rules.
No, absolutely not. You can't blame the staff. So, yeah, competitive. So that's the only thing you could think of as a deal breaker.
In terms of, the only thing I think of right off.
What if you are eligible for a gun from the prize table, but through some sort of shenanigans you don't get it? Something like that.
If I
don't know what the shenanigans would be.
If I was supposed to get a prize according to the rule set they used, but I didn't get it. I don't know. I mean, depending on the prize. You'd probably still go back, wouldn't you? I mean, if it was a gun, I'd probably, I'd email the mess director over a gun and be like, hey, where's my gun? And
but you'd still go back, wouldn't you?
I don't know. If he, I guess, probably, depending on how dickish the mess director was.
Yeah.
If he's like, hey, I already sent it to the high lady, and I'm like, oh, well, okay, whatever. But
damn!
If he was just like, yeah, it's supposed to be the rules, but fuck you, I'd be like, maybe I won't go back.
I think the only thing I can add to it is if it personality driven. There's certain people at the match that are running it. I won't go because of that.
Okay.
I'm not going to name people or anything, but
we all know who you're talking about.
No, you don't.
No, I don't. I have no fucking clue. I tend to actually really like the RMs or whatever that have the most hard ass reputations. I tend to really like those people.
Well,
they tend to be my favorites.
Well, if we're going to go into that a little bit, that's because they actually follow it to a T. And
they
know
do.
What they expect from them. If someone's not going to follow it like that, we don't really know what to expect. So
yeah,
you're kind of going more blind.
Like the really good RMs are on site with the match early, and they spend like a whole day just looking at the stages, trying to find issues, and kind of stamp them out before they become problems. Yeah.
I don't like attending a match that doesn't have an actual RM in there.
A lot of match directors, I mean, it's not that much fun, I would imagine, to build a bunch of stages and then have somebody go through there and just find every fucking thing that's wrong with them. That's probably not that much fun, but that's how you get the best matches, is having a bunch of people look at them.
Yeah, I agree.
So, I like that. Anything else, guys, or can we move on to a shooting question? Tim, can you talk now? Are you good?
I think I can talk. Can you guys hear me fine now?
Yeah. You look like sunburned as shit or something.
No, I had to jump on my cell phone. So
someone left you in the oven too long. Man.
He's got his video down at lowest resolution.
Yeah.
Vertical video ought to be banned, sir. All right, here's a shooting question, guys. I want to win. I'm an M in production, usually shoot about 93% of the points. I'm consistently 10% slower than the guys that win. At the section match, I shot 90% of the points with no penalties. The winner shot 88% with no penalties, but he shot the match in 153 seconds. It took me 171 seconds, a difference of 11%. He goes on, blah, 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 blah. All right. I know I need to be better, but it seems to me I need to keep my points and just do it faster, but I'm not sure how to get there. I do feel like I'm ready to shoot when I get to position. I do feel like I move pretty fast from spot to spot. I often feel like I spend a lot of time in position, wanting to see more than is needed to make the shot. Can you help me out? Hopkins, you're the fastest shooter here, man.
Oh, I'm not, dude.
The fastest at shooting?
Tim Myers is.
He doesn't talk. He doesn't count.
All right. It's not going to be one thing. It's going to be everything a little bit. I mean, it's going to be like a tenth on everything.
Well, he says he feels like he moves pretty well and he's ready to shoot when he gets to a spot.
Then it's going to be his splits and transitions then. But I honestly probably think it's when he's leaving, getting there. I mean, we can like name everything here, but at that point it's going to be taking small percentage of stuff off of everything.
Do you know a lot of guys at this level? This guy sounds like a pretty good shooter, but he's going to have to start really putting in the work.
I think everybody's at that level at some point, and then like
Well, no, not everybody gets this, that good, where they're like, I'm consistent, I hit everything, I'm doing well, and I just need to be a little bit faster, and then I'm in it,
I don't know if you can be just a little bit faster, though. Can you just...
I don't know.
Can he just go out there and take 10% off of his times on every stage? I think that'd be pretty tough.
That'd be really tough.
And
I mean, to do it tomorrow.
To maintain
the
points,
tomorrow. Yeah.
So it's going to be a lot of little things.
All right.
How else to address it?
Yantola.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that.
You've been this guy, though, right?
Say what?
You've been this guy.
I am this guy.
I
am this guy. No, I'm not.
Right.
I don't know if I'm exactly that guy right now, but I'm sure I've been that. I feel like I know what he's talking about. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I agree with Hopkins. It's not going to be. You're probably not going to see one, specific thing you're going to have to improve. What I would do is I would watch as much video as possible from the guys who beat me at the same match, if you can find it. And I think then you'll kind of get a sense of what, if there's anything that really particularly stands out, I think you'll see it there. But I think in practice you just have to run stuff at your match pace, look at the time and the points, and then say, okay, now I'm going to run it 10% faster and I'm going to keep the points, or I'm going to try to keep the points. But I'm going to run it 10% faster, and I'm going to know what that speed feels like, at least. So, like for me, if I want to do something faster, I can't do it until I actually go that speed in practice, with the points or not. But I got to actually go that fast so I know what it feels like, and then once I know what it feels like, I can work toward getting the points within that kind of time frame.
Tim Herron.
I agree.
For the guy? I mean, I feel like all of us are like, oh, I'm pretty accurate, but I could always be faster.
Oh, everybody thinks that.
Right?
I'm exactly in this guy's position myself. So, just like Nick said too. I mean, it's like Matt said, it's a lot of little things. Gone are the days where, as a B or an A class shooter, it was like, there was so much low-hanging fruit, of things like, well, going from a 2-second reload to a 1-second reload, and going from a 1.5-second draw or whatever to a 1-second draw, and things like that. But I mean, little things. Just like Matt said, every 10th adds up. The big things, for me is, okay, not only are you getting in and out of positions good, and I feel like I've got the gun, ready to shoot when I get to position. No, you should be shooting the second you're in position, not just ready to shoot. It's things like, if you really started to break down on stages, you against a guy that's obviously putting, let's say, 2 seconds of stage on you on every single stage. It's those things that are, are lacking. I mean, the guy that's able to put 2 good A's on a 15 to 20 yard target in 0.21, 0.22 splits versus you're spending a little bit more time refining the sight picture and pulling the trigger and being more careful and things like that. I mean, at some point in time you've got to kind of, especially in practice, you've got to let the wheels fall off to know just exactly what you can and can't do, and work on those things.
All right, I like that. That's I suspect you guys are right that it's a bunch of little things, but I'm gonna take a look at. I'm gonna take the guy's email at face value and assume that he got it right. When he says, I mean, I get the sense that he gets is that he's moving around fine and that the time is in the shooting. And to me, the part that I'm focused on is, I often feel like I spend a lot of time in position, wanting to see more than is needed to make the shot. So I have advice that's going to be a little crazy. What he should do is squat up with the guy that's beating his ass at the match. Yes, guys, that's Missy. She's going fucking crazy. I'm going to have to count her. She's out of control. I don't know what she's whining about. Like, what? I gave her some pizza? Everything. Whatever. All right, so squat up with the guy who's beating him at his club match, and then listen to the pace of his shooting, and shoot the stage that pace. And that's it. Obviously, he's going to have some penalties doing that. But as a learning exercise, I think it'll be okay. The other thing you could do is...
Did you say club match?
Yeah, I did say club match. Go to the club match and do that shit.
Did he say club match?
I don't know. He's talking about section matches and stuff too. But whatever. I mean, it doesn't make any difference. Just listen. I mean,
expensive experiment though.
Yes, as an experiment, do that. The other thing you can do is if you want to do this in practice, go watch some fast guys shoot stuff that you can reproduce, like classifiers. Go watch it on YouTube and get a sense for their time and what it sounds like, and just force yourself to, you are going to split the gun that fast, and just see what it feels like, and get a sense for like, oh, this is how it's going to go. And then you try to see things happening. So what he's probably going to have to do is like switch to a lot more target-focused shooting, where he can see the sights peripherally, but maybe not get a really sharp front sight focus. It'll just give him an idea of like, okay, this is how it's gonna play out if I'm shooting at the pace that these other guys are shooting. And then the other thing to kind of internalize is, not only do you have to be able to shoot this fast in practice, you have to be able to shoot this fast comfortably and consistently and kind of see everything that's happening. And it'll take you have to shoot a lot and do a lot of dry fire at this sort of pace in order to move to the next level. But I think it's a good thing to try. Does that sound crazy? Hopkins, you're looking at me like I'm fucking crazy.
No, what I really liked was what Nick explained it to do. Just go out there and you got to shoot at the pace first and know the time and the pace you need to go, and then work on hits that way.
No, that's fine. I'm kind of saying the same thing, I suppose.
Exactly. I think being better saying exactly the same thing.
Yeah, it's kind of like, well, a lot of guys get it different ways, right? I mean, a guy like Nick is really analytical. He'll just look at the time. It'll be like, L-Pres needs to be this, and Nick will make that time happen. A lot of guys benefit from just listening to the pace of the shooting. You can even do that at matches where you just watch a faster guy. You listen to him as he shoots through a position, and you're just like, okay, that's what that sounds like. And then you'll hear him kind of maybe be a little more deliberate on tougher shots or pieces of steel or something, and you'll be like, okay, so that's where I'll have some time to get on the sights a little harder on that stuff, or that sort of thing.
Absolutely. I think that's far more beneficial if you can, like I said earlier, if you can get the video of like the match winner from a match that you were at, that way you know exactly what those targets look like and how hard those shots were. If you don't know that, it's kind of useless. So you really have to be really familiar with what that target array looked like, in my opinion.
Absolutely. All right, good show, guys. I really enjoyed it. Can't wait to record another. If you have any shooting questions you'd like to send to me, head over to benstoker.com. I'm sure we will address them. Hopkins, you have a class coming up with Tim, My Phone Doesn't Work, Heron?
Yeah.
Okay, so how do people sign up for that?
hopkinsshooting.com or Facebook.
Okay, see, there you go. Useful information, sir.